let's play a little word association. I'm gonna list some of your hits and let me know what comes to mind when we mention them.
Okay.
Let's go with "In the Navy."
In the Navy was funny because here we are on this battleship, the USS Reasoner, with naval officers in the video with us. And I was just saying to myself, do they even know that most of us are gay? Because the lead singer was not, never was, and all lead singers of the group, we have four during
Right.
my tenure. Um, do they know? And they didn't care. It was actually the higher echelon of the service, whoever was in charge, that they decided that this is not, when they found out what Village People represented and what it stood for, lifestyle of sexual freedom and be who you are, and from the village in San Francisco, and of course that was very prevalent in the news back then. They were like, no, 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 we don't want the video. You could just keep it, and they ran away. So we got a free video. We got a free video out of it. Then we're going to use it as a recruitment tool. Anyway, that's
Oh,
what that's what I get from that.
"Go West."
Go West is interesting and a beautiful song, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, I remember Jacques saying to me one day, he hears a song and he would always whisper in my ear, because I was like his little the muse that he, like, he discovered, and there was no one quite like me, and I was his flower that held the whole group together. And he would say to me, Sherry, I'm going to write a new song, because he heard this classical piece of Pasha Bal canon in D minor, and he said, I'm going to write a song from this song. And I looked at him and I said, we are? Because again, I'm not writing with him, but he would just say we. And he said, yes, it's going to be called Go West. And then if you're a musician, or if you know, and you sit down and play piano and you look up the song Pasha Bal and Canon D minor, you can hear the sweeping string lines of Go West that became Go West from that. So that's how he thought, to take
Wow.
a piece of an element, or a chord structure, and create a song like that. And it was right in the middle of the AIDS crisis. So that song, the way Victor wrote it, was for hope. So let's all lead together hand in hand, and let's go west. Let's go where the sun is brighter and shines brighter, and it's more. It was a song for hope during that dark time.
Um, I hope I got the title right. "In Hollywood." Isn't that the one they used in the movie Studio
That
One?
well, they use that in the movie. Thank God that the publishers allowed them to have the song, because the song is, you know, when you hear San Francisco, the beginning of that song, and it segues into Hollywood in the breakdown where it just goes nuts, the song just explodes. That's when Victor yells out, "Studio One!" And then, so that was the Studio One that we were singing about. But the rest of America, they didn't know where Studio One was. And so whenever we were in LA, we played there, we would go there. I took little Richard there, ran into him in the elevator at the Hyatt House, and he was like, "Oh, my little babies," and all that. And we have a concert tonight, and he said, "I'll go." And I brought him on the stage, and they loved it. So Studio One, the soundtrack is in the film. We're in the film back then, and then I'm in the film today, as I am now
Hmm.
in the film. Speaking of Can't Stop the Music, because we shot, so that was in the first. Studio One was in the first album. 3 albums later, almost 3 years later, we are now then shooting the films at Studio One for a whole week, all the interior shots at Studio One. So the song came full circle, went around, and what became, infinity. It was beautiful to see happen.
Wow. So, "Can't Stop the Music," the song.
Well, I'm surprised that it ended up being "Can't Stop the Music," because of the title of the movie became "Don't Stop the Music," uh, "Disco Land," where the music never ends. I mean, they have 15 titles, and I guess they came it came down to "Can't Stop the Music," and it's another beautiful song. When you listen to it lyrically, it's a beautiful song, and the choreography was very catchy. Because so was our choreography with the microphones and the flags, and you can't stop the music. So it kind of the funny thing is that I had other celebrity friends that would say, "Hey, that choreography is kind of catchy," so it's nice.
I got
Unfortunately, the movie bombed in the United States because
right.
the disco movement, disco sucks, it was over. Thank God we had other countries around the world. And going to Australia, my tenure with the group, 39 times in 40 years, that ain't bad.
That's
Who does
pretty
it?
darn good.
That's pretty darn good. Yep.
Macho Man.
Uh, Macho Man. Macho Man, again, Jacques wanted something to give men empowerment because we were just coming off the heels of the women's movement.
Hmm.
And it was still on the horizon, Gloria Steinem and all that. And he wanted a song for men to say, we've got strength, we're positive, we're holding it down. And I love that song. I love it
Hmm.
for what it is. I love it.
Did you ever get into that whole wrestling thing? Because obviously one of the most popular wrestlers in WWF was the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
I remember him. No, no, I never got into that. No, no. I remember him. Yeah, yeah. No. Um, the interesting thing is that tomorrow night, or New Year's Eve
Hmm.
on Australia, I did
Hmm.
the video for DJ Maynard. He's going to put it on his show tomorrow on television tomorrow night. It's already New Year's Eve in Australia,
Hmm.
so there will be 8 o'clock or 8:15 Xanadu with
Oh.
the late great Olivia Newton-John, who's Australian, the
Hmm.
Australian disco princess, right?
Hmm.
Um, Followed by a commercial break and Can't Stop the Music into the Harbor Bridge fireworks.
Oh
That's
wow.
that's the full night for Australians all over the country. Channel
Wow.
9. So people at home will be tuning in, and they'll be they're gonna see Xanadu, they're gonna see Can't Stop the Music, they're gonna drink, and then they're gonna count down. And what a great way to celebrate. Come on, it doesn't get any better than that.
I think I had to go rent both of them
And
for my
every
New
year
Year's.
they do that. They've been doing it every year since we left the country. So I mean, we were there in 2016, but every year, New Year's Eve, they play "Can't Stop the Music."
That's awesome. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing. That's amazing.
And yeah, I know you talked about it a little bit already, but let's talk about it again. YMCA. We'll end with the music, the songs talking about YMCA. Comes to mind when you think of that song?
What comes to mind was the instant attraction, and it just sucked people in. It was strange to see that. Usually, it takes a singer or a group of performers to get the audience up to applaud.
Hmm.
The minute that song would start, they would just jump up, and no one at our concerts ever sat back down. And in fact, Valerie Simpson of Ashford and Simpson, she was at Madison Square Garden to see her brother Ray Simpson when he was with us, and she came into the dressing room after the show, and she said, "I'm like, Valerie, you mind? I'm getting dressed." She said, "I just have to tell you something. I had to turn around to look at the audience." She said, "It takes me and my husband almost an hour to get a crowd up like that. And you guys do it in 2 minutes." She said, "That's staying power. Don't ever forget it." And you know what? She was right.
Oh yeah. I
She
mean,
was right.
every time I hear those first few notes and the goosebumps.
I mean, yeah, the funny thing is people spell it wrong, but that's cute. That's why I'm here, still continuing the legacy to make sure that everybody spells it correctly.
And then